We are going to see about security control and reporting in information management paper. So, in this information security, before this, what do you mean by security? Without security, we cannot do any systematic work. We all depends on security. It starts from your what to say. It starts from a bank and it ends from your mobile or wherever, even the transaction, whatever. So here, what we are talking is the information security is really a major role, acting a major role in a business. What is information security? This information security, which is very useful as like to protect and secure a database or a database management software from illegitimate use and malicious threat and attacks. Got it? And the next concept what I'm talking is the database security. The database security refers to the collective measurements used to protect and secure a database or database management software from illegitimate. Okay, it's all about like security refers or even a database security, both are the same. Okay, and what is this security? It's all about security, how you will secure your database. Even like we people are basically into a business companies or business oriented industries. So what we used to do in the sense, when we secure our data, we depends on n number of software. Then only it like to protect our database, right? So this protection is totally talks about the goodwill of our company. That's why we all depends on the security. Okay, and the next is features. What are the things supposed to be there in the security? Number one is authentication. Obviously, the authentication refers the person logging into the account. It ensures that only the real account holders are allowed to log on to their internet accounts. That is called authentication. Authorization. Authorization talks about the authorized people who manipulate resources in specific ways. This prevents manipulation for unauthorized people. That is called authorization. What is encryption? Encryption, it deals with information hiding. Okay, it ensures that nobody can spy on other transaction. That is called encryption. Auditing, it talks about a record of operation is called as auditing. You have to keep a record. Okay, and merchants can auditing to prove that a customer brought a specific merchandise. That is called auditing. So these all the four features is very important, and the features do not guarantee to secure system. They are all necessary to build a secure system. So the four are important to secure your data. And security threats. What do you mean by security threats? There were too much of threats in the organization. So what all the threats will be there? Like the e-commerce security requirements can be studied by examining the overall process, beginning with the consumer and ending with the consumer or commerce server. Okay, so here there are too many threats are there. Okay, the first thread talks about client thread. Okay, client thread which have three type. The first type talks about active content. Active content refers to program that are embedded transparently in web pages and that causes action to occur. Active content is also like it can display moving graphics, download and play audio or implement web-based spreadsheet programs. Active content is also like it's a e-commerce to place item on wishes to purchase into a shopping cart and to compute the total invoice amount including sales tax handling and also shipping cost. So it's all like it's very important. This delivery technique is called as Trojan horse. Hope you all are aware about Trojan horse, right? So immediately begins executing and taking action that cause harm. That is called Trojan horse. It's like it's how to tell. Anyone can embed malicious active content in web pages, right? So it is one kind of a Trojan horse is an example for client threats. Okay, and second one is malicious code. Malicious code is like computer virus, worms, and Trojan horse or example of malicious code. And malicious code is like the Trojan horse is a program which performs useful function but perform an unexpected action as well as. Okay, the virus is a code segment which replicates by acting copies to existing executables. A worm, as I told you, the malicious code is also called as worm. A worm is a program which replicates itself and causes execution of the new copy. Okay, so these all called as like havoc. Havoc in the sense widespread destructions or damages in the client side. That is called havoc. Okay, it's a technical term. And the third point is server threat. A server threat is all about the masquerade line only, which is like fake identity. Simply, I'm saying a server side masquerading, which is like a fake identity response to mislead the user about its identity. Okay, so which is like it's all about the business oriented threats, or the company or the third person which will be involved in the company, they will have this kind of a threat. So that threat is called as client threat. And second one is communication threat. What do you mean by communication threat? A communication threat is like internet server as the electric chain linking a consumer to an e-commerce resource. Okay, which is like the client to a commerce server. Merges, or if you are going to send a messages on an internet travel, a random path from a source node to a destination node. What do you mean by source node? A source node is nothing but, as I told you, the root cause or root node. In the third unit, I have told you about the root node, right? The starting or where we got the issues. What is the problem that comes under the root node? That root node is called a source node, and to the destination, which is nothing but the leaf node, or either parent node to the child node. Okay, so these all called as communication channel threads. Under communication channel threats, you have number one is confidentially threats. Confidentially threats, how come? The prevention of unauthorized information disclosure. Okay, by doing this, some company.com will be there, or anybiz.com. So these all the dot coms, like some company.com has breached confidentially by recording the secret information the user has just entered. I can tell you the best example, like Zoom app. As you know, the Zoom app is not secure. What it actually does, in the sense, it takes the data of a person who enters into the or in their account. So whenever we enter in the Zoom account, automatically the Zoom itself, it takes a database and it delivers a database to n number of companies. Not only to the companies, they also hack our own transaction details or bank transaction, whatever the transaction which we do right now. That's called as confidentially threats. Okay, and second one is integrity threats. Integrity threats, it's like unprotected banking transaction, which we can tell like cyber vandalism. Cyber vandalism is the best example for integrity threats. How come? Which is like editing online content. We used to edit, right? For example, when someone memes, or someone created a meme, or someone created a content in the website, what we used to do in order to submit our assignment, we used to copy from the entire text in web page. So when you are going to copy from the entire web page, finally you just do some light changes, right? Editing the online content, that is called as integrity threat. Okay, and next one is availability threat. What do you mean by availability? Availability, as you know, there are too much of database available in the market or in the organization. So this may be reach the customer, reach the client will be a delay, take some delay, or denial threats, which I can tell like a technical word called denial threats, or to disrupt normal computer progressing or processing, or I can tell the best example like ATM machine transaction slows from 1 or 2 seconds to 30 seconds. User will obviously abandon ATM machines entirely. Similarly, slowing any internet service will drive customers to competitors web or commerce site. Okay, that is called availability threats. Okay, and the second and the third one is server thread. As you know, it's all like a familiar one for us. Server thread number one is web server thread. What do you mean by web server thread or commerce server thread or whatever? So first we will see about commerce server thread. Commerce server thread, it talks about the web server responds to request from web browser through the HTTP protocol. As you know, this hypertext transfer protocol, and the CGI script has several pieces of software comprising. It's like each of the software can have security holes and bugs, right? That kind of a thread is called common server threads. And second one is web server thread. What is that web server threads? Web server thread or a software is designed to deliver web pages by responding to HTTP requests. What are the requests from the organization? Automatically they will be designed, and sometimes the design will not work out because the customer or the person one who asked us to design, he want more than the software expectation or expectations of what the software will do. That kind of a thing is called web server threads. And next one is database thread. Database thread is an e-commerce system store user data and retrieve product information from database connect to the web server. Besides product information, database connected to the web contain valuable and private information that could irreparably damage a company, right, if it were disclosed or altered. That is called as database threats. Simply I can tell like the organization used to have too many of database, right? For example, a private company will have too much of database from the Naukri. They will be discharge their database to some other company. Okay, so what happened, that company will also have a database of some other company. So what I will be doing, I just ask the company to give their own database. They won't give the database which they got. So automatically what they will be doing, they will have like a simple count or a little count of the database which they got from the Naukri, they will be giving to us. And what we used to do, we given the entire database to the company. Obviously they are the beneficiary. As a friendly mode we just given, but the database threat in the sense, the company will have a capacity of only having 100. That is called a database threat. We cannot go further for the further for saving or further for updation. That is called database threat. And next one is common gateway interface. A common gateway interface is like CGI. Okay, it's simple term. They will say like CGI. It is like to transfer of information from a web server to the another program. Okay, such as data program or database program, or for example, I can tell like the password and the username will be sent to n number of people if they're writing, or if they are not able to capable or privilege based system programs that delete the entire files, which is like if I'm going to enter my username password in a computer, what my computer will do, it automatically save my document. If I saved or if I said okay, then automatically it saved my password or username in a computer or in my laptop. In this, if I've done a OS, what I used to do, it won't come again, right? The same, the computer will be doing what is that? It continuously asking our username password, which means we not saved our data to the computer. Okay, so if I save the data in a computer, what automatically will be doing? The computer will transfer my data to somewhere, or someone will access my computer, or someone remote my computer. Automatically, my entire details will be threads or gone to somewhere, or gone to the third person. There is a common gateway which I only created, right? So what you have to do, whenever you open your username or password or a computer or whatever the bank transaction, you should not save the database in a computer or a place wherever you are going. You just do only once. That's it. Okay, and next one, password hacking. It's common one. Okay, a simple attack against a password based system is a guessing the password. That is the simple thing. What we used to do, with the shade of the mobile phone, we come to a conclusion. This is the what is that? The design of pattern or whatever. So we just came to a conclusion, or we just guessing the password. So password hacking is the authentication function we obtained. If none of these have changed by the time the password is guessed, then the attacker can use a password to access the system. Okay, so this is very important part B question. Okay, security threats. And next one, steps to be taken for providing e-business security. Okay, what all things we have to do in order to secure our data? As I told you, these all the problem we are facing, overcoming in the society. So what we have to do? How we will be protect ourselves, right? So number one, develop culture of security. You have to develop, which means business needs to have internet security, right? Internet security measures in place and make sure staff are aware of and follow internet security practices. For example, if my organization is going to implement one kind of a software, or a virus or whatever installation, I used to be aware about the software installation, right? If I am not at all awareing about this one, then automatically what I will be doing, I will be using some other spam mails, or opening the spam mail, or I will not scanning my entire database, or the data which I'm going to send, or the data which I'm going to receive. I never do any scanning work. Automatically my system will be hacked, or will have too much of unsecurity issues. So first thing, develop your culture of security. You have to do so on so thing in order to secure our data. Second one, install an antivirus software and keep it updated. What it means? You supposed to install an antivirus software, scans and remove known viruses computer may have contracted. It will help protect computer against viruses, worms and trojans or whatever. Okay, and third one, install a firewall to stop unauthorized access to computer. Okay, firewalls work like a security guard. Okay, security guard to protect computer from intruders, which is like the user. So automatically what you have to do, you must install, or you should have a firewall work. Then only your entire data will be in a secured mode. And fourth point, protect from harmful emails. What do you mean by harmful emails? For example, the spam mails which we used to get, right? Sometimes our friend messages or friend mails also comes under spam mail. How come? If they open the spam mail in their own what is it, mail, so if they open in the sense, that mail is also attacked, as well as when he sends the mail to us, that mail is also attacked by the threats. So what we have to do, when your friend is having threats in their own system, and after getting the threats, he just sending his own important document to your mail ID, that mail is also become a spam, or else like the threats. Okay, so what you have to do is, you must protect from harmful emails. How come? It is important, cautious. Okay, so you should have a sources where the data came from and whether the data is reliable or not. For example, we used to have too many of emails, right? So and so tickets you have one, or else this is tickets or coupons for you to go so and so places, enjoy this day, and free tickets, or else if you want to be a millionaire, click this one. This kind of emails or catchy emails we used to get regularly. What we do, we suddenly go and click this one. It's all a curiosity, right? So when you click that one, what will happen? This mail automatically reflects, this click automatically reflects to entire of your friends. So don't do such things. Okay. And next one, minimize spams. So minimize spam mails. How come? While it is not possible to completely stop spam, okay, from entering email box, step to reduce the amount of such risk has to be taken. As I told you, what all things you have to click, right? So when you are going to click some document, you should aware that either it is it is truly, or it is true, what to say, it is a legally authorized mail, or these all things you have to check. Later only you can proceed for the what is that, downloading and all. And next one, backup data. Backup data is creating a copy of backup of data is a sensible way to ensure that all the business information is recorded or recovered from the computer or website quickly and easily. Okay, that is called backup data. Next one, develop a system from secure passwords. Yeah, you know this, the creating effective password, right? So effective password can provide an additional means of protecting the information on the computer. So very important, you should protect a system with the help of password. And next one is keeping software up to date. How you will keep your software up to date? You know the system will get vulnerable when you are not what is it, up to date. If outdated software may make a system vulnerable, it is essential to keep the software updated, right? So you supposed to keep your software or system should be updated one. Okay. And next one, ensuring that the online banking is secure. Very, very important. When you are following security advice provided by the respective financial institution, helps in keeping financial transactions secured. Okay. And last one, develop and maintain a security policy. Obviously, what we used to do, the monitoring and testing security policies, right, is a continuous process. You have to monitor, you have to do a testing, you have to do a, either you have to check all the security is not about a number of features but a system process, right? A comprehensive security policy is required, or to ensure security of a system, all will be very important. Okay, so these all the 10 steps you have to take care in order to make your business or the internet to be in a security mode. Next one, how long I was saying like firewall, what do you mean by firewall? As you know that firewall, we just talking about the firewall continuously for the next 2 hours or whatever. But what is it firewall into? The firewall is like is a hardware, okay, hardware or software also. It's a hardware or software device which is configured to permit, deny, or proxy data, okay, through a computer network which has different level of trust. Basically a firewall is a barrier to keep destructive forces away. Okay, for example, one of the security rules inside the company might be out of 500 computers inside a company, only one of them is permitted to receive public. Okay, so allow FTP connections, only one can use the computer, in the sense the company can set up rules like this server automatically. If too many of people are opening the same data, what will be happen? There will be a hacking, or there will be like stoppaging of a server, or will be like slow connection. For example, the best example is your Anna University website or whatever. So when too many of people are opening to seeing your results in Anna University website, obviously it will be have some delay. All right. So the firewall which comes to the picture, and it allows the network goes so on to the what the customer expects. Okay, the firewall gives the company tremendous control over how people use the network. Okay, so what is firewall protected? What that firewall is doing? How it protect the e-business security? Number one, they will talks about remote login. What do you mean by remote? It's not like normal remote. They will talks about when someone is able to connect to computer and control, it is some form. Okay, whatever the form. This can range from being able to view or access the files by running programs. Okay, that is called remote login. Second one, application backdoors. Application backdoors is like some programs have special features that allow for remote access. Others contains bugs, okay, that provide a backdoor or hidden access that provides some level of control of the program. For example, when I'm going to click or when I'm going to what to say, yeah, I'm going to click or I'm going to search the Anna University website results. So what I used to do, I just check the mail in Anna University, right? There itself they have a server 1, server 2, right? So if I have some problem in server 1, automatically what I have to do, I will go for the server 2. This is called application backdoor will be there. Okay, third one, denial of server. As you know, the denial in the sense the hacker sends a request to the server to connect to it. When the server responds with an acknowledgement and tries to establish a session, it cannot find the system that made the request by a server. With these unanswerable session requests, a hacker caused the server to slow to a crawl or eventually crash. That is called denial of service. Okay, and fourth one is SMTP session, which is like hijacking. Okay, hijacking is the most common method of sending emails over the internet. By gaining access to a list of email addresses, a person send unsolicited junk mails to a thousand of users, right? The same mail will be goes to n number of people. That is not at all worth email. That is called as hijacking or SMTP session. And next one is operating system bugs, like application. Some os, right, some os have backdoors, as I told you. Others provide remote access with insufficient security controls, or have bugs that an experienced hacker can take advantages of, right? So that is called operating system bug. And the next one is email bombs. An email bomb is usually a personal attack. Okay, someone sends the same email hundreds or thousands of times until your email system cannot accept any determination by the routers. Okay, hackers sometimes take advantage of this to make information appears to come from a trusted source or even from inside the network also. Most firewood products disable source routine by default only. So please, whenever the systems are in a issue, you supposed to have a firewall protector, then only. Even like the email bombs or bugs or hacking or else remote control, everything will have a controlling one or else secured your data. The next topic is testing. What do you mean by testing? As you know, testing is very important in the organization, or the very important process in the organization, right? Is a measure to protect an application against unforeseen action, which is like here what the security testing or testing is a process intended to reveal flaws. Okay, if we done a mistake in the testing, automatically again I can go for the go for the testing process and rename the data, right? So testing is very important, or it is like the system of application is finding all possible loops. Okay, you can find the possible loops in the data, that is called testing. And whenever we start a project or whenever we start the business, obviously we have to do R&D, right? So research and development the same. In a computer, you supposed to have a testing process if and all you are going to implement a project. Okay. Then types of testing. Types of testing, number one is vulnerability scanning. Vulnerability in the sense the harmed or attacked scannings. Okay, this is done through automated software. Automatically, whatever the software which was installed in a computer, that will be scanned and rectified. That is called as vulnerability scan. Second one, security scanning. It involves identifying network and system weaknesses. Okay, and later provide solution for reducing these risk. This scanning can be performed for both manual and automated scanning. That is called security scanning. Next one, penetration testing. A penetration testing, this kind of a testing is a malicious hacker. It involves to check for potential vulnerable to an external hacking concept is called as penetration testing. Next one, risk assessment. This testing talks about the low, medium, high, the range of risk what we are facing into, and whether our testing concept is all like either we are under the high category of risk, we are going to face a high category of risk, or low or medium. This kind of a segregation will be there in risk assessment. And next one, security auditing. Security auditing is like line by line inspection will be there whenever we do a testing. Number one, this is the phase. Number two, this is the phase. So number one, we have to complete. Later only we can go for the number two. There will be a step by step algorithm based testing will be there. That is called as security auditing. And next one is ethical hacking. Ethical hacking is like unlike malicious hacker who steal for their own gains. Okay, the intent is to expose security flaws in the system. Okay, that is called ethical hackers or hacking. And next one is posture assessment. A posture assessment is like ethical hacking as well as risk assessment, both will be there. So overall security posture of an organization, how the security scanning is combined with, which is like whenever we go for implementation, obviously we will have the procedure, right? The introduction, coding, testing, everything will be there. So that will be comes under the steps or the process, that is called as posture assessment. And next topic, error correction. How you will correct the error or how you will be rectifying the error. What is it? Before this, you supposed to know what is error detection. Error detection and corrections or error control is a technique that enable reliable delivery of digital data over unreliable communication channel. Okay, many communication channels are subject to channel noise, and thus error may be introduced during a transmission from the source to a reviewer. Okay, that is called as error detection. And this error detection you have implementation stages will be there. Number one is ARQ, automatic repeat system or automatic repeat request. What is it? ARQ, once again, ARQ is like sometimes also refers to an backward error correction. So how the backward error corrections will be doing, this is like whenever we do a mistake, what we will be doing, we will not go from the introduction. We supposed to know the backward where the mistake has been found, either from the testing or either from the coding. So you have to go from the backward detection. Okay, that backward detection is called as automatic repeat request. Okay, and next one is forward error correction. The same, it comes under the next step. Okay, what is going to be the next step? If we implement this one, what we are going to get? Okay, that is called as forward error correction. Okay, and that is called as FCC, FEC, forward error correction. Here I wrote mistakenly over there, so that is called FEC. Okay, that is not ECC. Sometimes ECC also there, error corrective code. Sometimes they will be saying error corrective code, in the sense it talks about like CD, DVDs will be there, right? In the olden days, you will not have what is that, random access memory. You will be having only read only memory in your CDs, DVDs, or floppy disk or whatever. So now it comes to a picture called you will be having a rewritable one, that is called error correcting. You are correcting the error and saving some other sources, that is called ECC. Okay. And next one is Hyper ARQ. Hyper ARQ, as I told you, it is like backward, and here the Hyper scheme is like both will be there. The backward as well as forward corrections will be there. Okay, backward and the forward correction is called as hybrid. Okay, and applications that requires low latency, which is like telephone conversation. Okay, they supposed to cannot use ARQ. They must use forward error correction, because the next number like this, the telephone conversation will be there. So like that, the application that use ARQ must have a written channel. Application having no written channel cannot use ARQ. Application that require extremely low error rates. Okay, you will be having a digital money transfer or reliability or inspection of error correction that's supposed to be there in the application. For example, when you have a mobile phone, you will have too many of applications in order to protect the data, right? If not, there are too many of application in order to entertain yourself. So that is called as application. Okay, the same even in your organization, whenever we have issues or problem, what is the solution? With the help of application. And next one is the internet. In a typical TCP or IP attack or Slack transfer protocol, which like, so TCP or IP stalk or error control is performed at multiple levels. Okay, so even intranet, extranet, all will be there in the internet corrections. So all supposed to be cooperate with us. Next one is deep space telecommunication. Yes, it's about the electronical concept. It's like the old or else like the availability, power availability, or space, or else signal problem, or else like the network issues, or else like the satellite issues, or else the code which we transform, or else like the IP address code. Everything that all comes under deep space telecommunication. Even that also to be recovered or corrected. Next one, satellite broadcasting. Satellite broadcasting is otherwise called as DVP. Okay, DVP. So this like digital visual board, and this DVP is totally about like demand for satellite transportation bandwidth continues actually. This talks about new channels or that is HD TVs, right? So high definition TVs and IP data is all supposed to be checked or error to be controlled. That is called as satellite broadcasting. Here this increased information rate actually in a transponder come to the expense of the carrier power to meet the threshold requirements for existing antennas. That is called as satellite broadcasting. And next one is data storage. Data storage is like error detection and correction codes are often used to improve the reliability of data storage media. Okay, and the party which is like the data storage, which talks about CRC code or else RAID, which I told you already. The required or acidity or integrity or detectivity. So all will be with the help of computer. This term is totally talks about the support data scrubbing or reshelfing, which is like I can simply say that the replacement of a hardware depends upon the user. Okay, for example, I used to have a pen drive. Okay, for 8 GB I will have 8 GB pen drive and store the data, right? So depends upon the user themselves create a storage capacity, the hardware capacity, which I can, whatever the capacity I need, I will be having a separate hard disk. That is called data storage. And next one is correcting memory. This is called as DRAM. This is like error correcting memory is also called as ECC or EDAC protected memory. And this is like it talks about the radiation. Okay, radiations or else the hardware providing secured for ECC memory to operate. Or else I can tell, like, in a simple term, they called as blue smoke. Blue smoke is like Linux kernel EDAC subsystem, okay, which this they collect the data from error checking enabled components inside a computer system. Besides collecting and reporting back the events related to ECC memory, it also supports other check summing errors, including those detected of the PCI bus. So very important. This is like talks about the antennas um, or the replacing or the feedback, that all comes under error correcting memory. Okay, and the next one, controls. Next topic talks about control. How we will control the system. The error control in the data link layer is based on AQR. What do you mean by AQR? As I told you, talks about the backward error, right? Detecting error, which is the retransmission of data. The term error control refers to methods of error detection and retransmission, which is like the error control is a theory part actually. So this how they will be controlling the error. First of all, we supposed to have algorithm. How the error was occurred. What is the step we used to do when we implement the what is it, project or else whatever. So while we have to get a feedback from the generator, what is the error into? What kind of a thing? What kind of the error you got when you install the software or whatever. So these all on the based of advanced type of automation that revolving like manufacturing, mechanically or aircraft or communication or any industry, they will follow the same measurements. Okay, so in order to implement a control, you supposed to have the looping process, open loop and closed loop. That is when we started, and the feedback control supposed to be there when we started or getting a error. And next one is IS vulnerability, information system vulnerability. As you know, vulnerability is like securing our information assured, which is like cutting down of the network. Okay, really it refers the type of weakness in a computer system. Okay, it is a weakness in a computer system itself, in a set of procedures or in anything that leaves information security exposes to a threat. As you know, a vulnerability is really a threats or a weakness in the computer. Okay, next, what all the types of vulnerability? Number one, buffer overflows. When your computer will have a weakness, when too much of people are opening the same application, automatically the buffer overflows, right? So the buffer overflows occur when application attempts to write data past and end, occasionally past the beginning, or it will be like buffering, that is called as buffer overflows. Okay, and this buffer overflows only the stack. A stack is like a single call to a particular function, that is called a stack. What do you mean by stack? In the sense, a part of an application address space that stores data that is specific to a single call to a particular function or method or block or other equivalent construct is called a stack. Very important. Okay, next one, unvalidated input. Obviously, you supposed to accept this one. Unvalidated input. You should check all input received by your programs to make sure that the data is reasonable. Okay, so you supposed to have a validated data. If you don't have a validated data, automatically your system will become a vulnerability. Third one, race condition. Race condition in the sense when changes to the order or two or more events can cause a change in behavior, right? It is correct order to execution is received for a proper functioning of the program. This is called a bug. Okay, if an attacker can take advantage of the situation to insert malicious code, change a file name, or otherwise interfere with the normal operation of the program, the race condition is security vulnerable. This race condition is called as security vulnerable. And the next one is inter-process communication. Yes, separate process either within a single program or in two different programs. Okay, sometimes they have to share information. Common methods includes having shared memory or using some messages protocol, such as sockets provided by the operating system. Okay, best example. Then insecure file operations. Insecure file operation, I can give you an example like writing to or reading from a file in a location writable by another user. Got it? If not, like failing to make the right checks for file type, device ID, link, and other settings before using the file. Got it? And failing to check the result code after file operations. So these are like assuming that if a file has a local path name, it has to be a local file. So what we will be doing, we itself we will be creating or guessing the file, and we are creating the programmers and assuming the assumption of the owner, and we do the file operation, that is called insecured. We supposed to get a permission from the person or one who created, then only the file will be secured. Whatever we used to do, for example, as I told you earlier, the memes was created by someone. What we will be doing, the meme is like slightly changes the meme and doing like a different memes and all. You can do your own creativity, right? The same even in a computer or even in a business also. The business also have the same issues. When a business is having a new procedure rules, in the sense, you supposed to have your own vision mission or your own rules and regulation. You cannot follow the vision which was followed by the organization, right? So you should have a secured, that is called secured one. When we follow some other data, obviously we will be facing a issues. Next, access control programs. Access control is a process of controlling who is allowed to do what. This range from controlling physical access to a computer, keeping a server in a locked room. Okay, so for example, specifying who has access to a resource, who's supposed to access my computer, who's supposed to access my data, that's supposed to be fixed by mine. If I'm not at all fixing in the sense, obviously I will not send my data to anyone. If someone sees my data, they are supposed to have a password, right? If they don't have a password, automatically the database will not viewed by people. If I have an open source, automatically that becomes a vulnerable. Okay, next, secured storage and encryption. Encryption can be used to protect user secrets, actually, secrets from others, either during data transmission or when the data is stored. That is called a secure data and encryption. And social engineering. Social engineering is like you should have, how to say, the weakest link in the chain of a security features protecting user data and software is the user himself, actually. As developers eliminate buffer overflows, race condition, and other security vulnerabilities, attackers increasing concentrated on fooling users into executing malicious code or handing over password, credit card numbers, and other private information, tricking a user into a giving up secrets or into giving access to the computer to an hacker or attacker is called as social engineering. What it means, you should not deliver your password to other people in order to save yourself. You should be safe when you not disclose your password to anyone. So be aware that you should not deliver your password or should not give your own responsibility to any person. That is called a social engineering. Okay, next heading, disaster management. You all very aware about disaster management. The disaster management, I can tell, like in India, it refers to manage disaster response in the country. Actually, India has been traditionally vulnerable to the natural disaster on the account of its unique geographical climatical condition. As you know, for example, floods, droughts, cyclones, earthquakes, and landslides, even right now, whatever the corona, whatever. So all becomes the disaster, which is like either by the health or either by the nature, whatever. So by nature only we used to got all kind of disaster, right? So about 60% of landmass is prone to earthquake of various intensities. Over 40 million acres and prone to flood. About 8% of total area is prone to cyclones, and 68% of the area is susceptible to drought. In the decade, what to say, from 2000, I guess, 2000, the average of about 4,344 people lost their lives, and about 30 million people were affected by disaster every year. Really dramatic, like how to say, really worst condition. But now the same has been what to say, 50% or even 100, more than 100 percentage become right now the condition is like this. So disaster management really is actually a major role in the organization. But how the system is comes to the picture, obviously the system will have too much of issues or too much of problem when they have a disaster management. What is the classification? Number 1, natural disaster. You know, the natural disaster is like what to say, as I told you, the earthquake, landslides, volcano, flood, aprum, what to say, hurricanes, then tsunami, cyclones, all comes under natural disaster that kill thousands of people and destroy billions of dollars of habitable. That is called as natural disaster. When we talks about human instigated or human instigated disaster is a consequence of technological hazards. Actually, we we are creating the issues. For example, the firing fires in the forest, or transport accident, or industrial accident. Recently, that Wizard accident, right? And oil spills, this all comes under human instigated, okay, instigated disaster. That is like man-made disaster or examples of specific cases where man-made hazards have become really in an event. That is called human instigated disaster. Okay, next heading, computer crime. Very important and interesting topic. Computer crime. Computer crime poses a daunting task for law enforcement agencies because they are highly technical crimes, which is like how to say, this computer crime is really considered many criminal activities or unethical activities facilitated by committed with computer or information technologies is called as computer crimes. It's stealing someone password by watching them type in it, looking at someone private files, okay, and stealing what to say, stealing computer media and hardware, then stealing information, money, or services, then hacking a websites and replacing it, or creating or disseminating a computer virus. These all the process or the category, okay, of computer criming. Now the types of computer crime. What are the types of crimes are there? Number 1, computer fraud. Computer fraud is one of the most rapidly increasing forms of computer crime. Computer fraud is also commonly referred to as internet fraud. Okay, this what they will be doing in the sense, fraud is any type of fraud scheme, like chat rooms, email, messages, boards, or websites to present fraudulent transaction or to transmit the proceeds to frauds to financial institutions. That all comes under computer fraud. Okay, there are multiple forms of internet frauds are there. Okay, through internet they are doing millions of frauds actually. And next one is advance fee fraud schemes. This advance fee fraud scheme is like victim is required to pay significant fees in advance of receiving a substantial amount of money or merchandise. For example, I can say the Yeah, victim is expecting a large payoff for helping to move millions of dollars out of the foreign country. The victim may also believe he has won a large award in the non-existent foreign lottery. Got it? So this is called as advance fee fraud scheme. Okay, and second one is business employment scheme. Typically, this business employment scheme is incorporate identity threat, freight forwarding and counterfeit check scheme, the fraudulent post, help wanted, or popular internet job search sites. These all comes under employment schemes, right? For example, I need so and so people in order to save or in order to protect my land or my property. The payment of a people will be so and so, and these are the benefits they'll be getting. This kind of a mail we used to get regularly. Nowadays, we used to get a lot. These all are spam mails, but what we used to do, we will be like, not we, some of them will be thinking that this is real, and they also apply for the job also. This is called a fraudster. So this is a fraudulent activity. Okay. Then counterfeit check scheme. A counterfeit check scheme is like, what to say, the victim or instructed to deposit a check and return a overage amount. Okay, usage by wire transfer to a foreign country. Okay, because banks may release funds from the cashier check before the check actually clears. The victim believes the check has cleared and wires the money as instructed. That is the issue. Okay, before itself they just cleared, or they just imagine that that is going to be the final, and obviously the money will be instructed, whatever the instructed money will be returned. That is called as counterfeit. Okay, next, credit debit card fraud. You know that credit debit card fraud, it is like unauthorized issue of use of credit debit card is a fraudulently obtained money or property, right? It can be stolen from unsecured websites, or can be obtained in the identity threat schemes. Okay, and the next point is freight forwarding or reshipping. Freight forwarding or reshipping is like the receiving and the subsequent reshipping of an online ordering merchandise to locations usually abroad. Individuals are also often solicited to the participant in this activity in chat rooms or through internet job posting. So this is like the mercantile, how to say, has been paid for this fraudulent credit card. That is the issue. So they will be paying for the fraudulent activity from the abroad. That is called as freight forward. And next one is identity threat. Identity threat is really the superstar of threats actually. Occurs when someone appropriate another personal information without their knowledge to commit theft or fraud. Identity threat is like vehicle for perpetrating or perpetratings, or how to say, a fraud schemes. Okay, typically the victim themselves will be giving a password without knowing that they are going to use our password or whatever. So identity threat is very common in the organization, which means someone will make us to do this one without our knowledge. Okay, for example, so and so people said, please kindly open your bank account in your phone and check whether you got the password or you got the OTP number. If we got the OTP number, what we say, yeah, I got the OTP number. What is your OTP number? We didn't get, we will be saying that OTP number, automatically that person will be taken our account details. So identity threat which made by ourselves, we only did the mistake without our knowledge, or someone will do the mistake without our knowledge. That is. Then investment fraud. And offering fraudulent claim in the sense, it is like a trade of forced security. What to do in the sense, we make them to invest so on so place, either in a mutual fund or whatever the investments, or institutions or whatever the financial investments. So wherever the person who made the victim to invest, that person or the victim is investing that place. That is called as victim or else investment frauds. And next point. Next point is phony escrow service. Phony escrow service in an effort to persuade a very internet auction participants. The fraudster will purpose the use of the third party escrow service to facilitate the exchange of a money and mercantile, that is called as phony escrow service. And next one is phony escrow service, pyramid scheme. Pyramid scheme. Pyramid scheme is like Fonzie. What is it Fonzie into? What is like no investment or actually made by them, called investment firm. They will be collapsing the investment, initial investment. They will be collapsing. No, this is not the way to investment. Like they will be collapse ourselves and they will not make us to invest the place. That is called as Ponzi or pyramid scheme. And next one is spoofing or phishing. So spoofing or phishing is like it is a technique actually. This technique is totally talks about working groups. The phishing is a form of online identity threat that can be spoofed emails designed to lure recipients to fraudulent websites, which attempts to trick them into divulging personal financial data such as credit card numbers, accounts, password or username password or secured. These all will be shared without our knowledge. For example, our phone or else our computer will be saved already, that can be taken from through the remote or else through the third person, that is called as spoofing or phishing. So these all the types of computer crimes, very important. Next, the defense. If we done the mistake, what all the issues are there when we done a mistakes, and what all the sessions are there. Number one, the tampering with computer source documents. When we copied from a computer source document and made yourself as the author, you will be imprisoned actually. Imprisonment up to 3 years and with fine which may extend up to 2 lakh rupees or with both may be given. That comes under section 65. Okay, this all comes under Computer Crime Act. Next one is computer related offenses. What all the offenses we used to do? For example, a fraudulent activity or dishonesty, or else our network or else our website is not true, or we made the people what to say, uh, honesty reply is not there, or else we then like entertainment web page or whatever, which makes like we only created a website and making the people or third person to be paying too much of money to our web page, or else somewhat crazed about our web page. These are like it is also a offense. Okay, that offense is the same 2 to 3 years you're supposed to be in impression, and the fine will be 5 lakhs rupees, or the both will be given according to section 66. Then punishment for sending offensive messages through communication servers, very important. What we do, we used to forward the data or the information which we got from the mails or WhatsApp or whatever. What we do, we just forward the message to someone, and if we are not even considering whether it is true or not, if we are sending the offensive message to so and so people or a group, that comes under 66A. For this, the same, you will be having like 3 years of imprisonment with some fine. Next, punishment for dishonesty receiving stolen computer resources. When we copy the computer resource or communication device, that is also a punishment. So this is like it is also an impression of 3 years with 1 or 2 lakhs or both will be given. And next one is punishment for identity threats. As I told you, what do you mean by identity threat? What do you mean by identity threat? The individual or ourself, without our knowledge, we what to say, we or given the updated billing or number to the third person to operate my account, that is called as identity. Ourselves we did the mistake. So when we did a mistake, the punishment is comes to R also. The imprisonment is 3 years and the fine is also 1 lakh rupee. And next one, punishment for cheating by personating by using computer resources. What to say, the computer resources in the sense it talks about the sources, not only the devices, they talks about the data which is in the computer, either like the organization database you was stolen, that was also comes under here. This is also getting like imprisonment for either 3 years or the fine of 1 lakh rupee under the section 66D. Okay. Next, securing the web. How we will secure the data. Web server security in the protections of information assets that can be accessed from a web server. Web server security is important for any organization that has a physical or visual web server connected to the internet. What it means? The penetration test, actually. Penetration test should be run on this regular basis to identify potential attack or vendors or whatever. The issue should not come. So what we are supposed to do? Continuous improvement should be there, right? The same continuous monitoring should be there in order to secure your website. Next one, intranet. What do you mean by intranet? Intranet is a private network accessibility, which is like LAN. What do you mean by LAN? Local area network, and WAN, wide area network. So these two parts is very important in intranet. What it actually doing? It's like a computer and the organization, they have a network connection in their own organization. They also connect with the internet, and they will be having their own portals. For example, like MS Outlook. This example which I gave you already in the classroom. So intranet, which is the example of LAN and WAN. Okay. What do you mean by wireless network? You know this one, right? Wi-Fi, wireless network. Wireless network is a computer network that uses wireless data connection between network nodes. Wireless networks. Networking is a method by which homes, telecommunication networks, and business installation avoid the costly process of introducing cables into a business or a connection between various equipment location, which is like as I told you this one already. The first professional wireless network was developed under the brand of Aloha Net, okay, in 1969 at the University of Hawaii and became operational in June 1971. The first commercial wireless network was the WAV-LAN product family developed by NCR in 1986. It's very really interested, right? 1986 itself we got the wireless network. And what is this wireless network will do? This wireless networks is like includes cell phone networks, wireless local area networks, wireless sensor networks, satellite communication networks, and terrestrial microwave networks. So these are all the examples actually. Types of wireless network. Number one, wireless PAN. Wireless personal area network. For example, I can tell Bluetooth radio, invisible infrared light provided. These all comes under wireless PAN. Wireless LAN. Wireless LAN is like spread spectrum or OFDM technology or else Wi-Fi brand. This all comes under wireless LAN connection. Then wireless ad hoc network. Wireless ad hoc network is like automatically rerouting around a node. For example, various network layer mobile networks such as the best example I can tell like distance squaring or else like associately based routing, they will be saying the dynamic source routing, which is like routing of wire, that is called as wireless ad hoc network. Then wireless MAN, metropolitan area network. And this talks about the area connectivity or the micro so what to say metropolitan area connectivity without wire. Then wireless WAN, wide area network, computer internet with example. So this is like cover large areas such as between neighboring towns and cities or even city and suburban, that is called as wireless WAN. Then cellular network. Cellular network in the sense I can tell an example of GSM, global system for mobile communication. This GSM is divided into three major actually. What they will be doing in the sense, for example, the cell phone connects to a base system station which then connects to the operator and support station. It then connect to the switching station where the call is transferred to where it needs to go. Then GSM is the most common standard and it used to majority of cell phones, right? So these all comes under cellular network. Then global area network. Global area network is like GAN. This talks about the mobile communication is handing off user communication from one local coverage area to the next, okay, which is like IEEE projects, that one. And next one, space network. You know about this one, the NASA space network example. Space network in the sense communication between spacecraft usually in the vicinity of the earth. So this is called a space network. Then performance, you all know this one. Nowadays it goes like 7G or 4G or 2G or 3G, whatever. The forms or Gs are too many. The graphical ranges are too n number of Gs are there in the technology. So it stands for the fourth generation of cell phones, mobile communication standard. So faster, we obviously we need a larger amount of data. Obviously, it should be a faster. So these all human needs. So performance should be there in wireless network. So that is called as performance network. Then space. Space is like space is also created home. Okay, as a result of eliminating clusters of wiring. Okay, this technology allows for an alternative to installing a physical network medium such as TPs. Okay, then home. This one, homeowners or wireless technology is an effective option compared to Ethernet, or sharing printers, scanners, and high speed or high speed internet connection, WLAN, all comes under wireless networks types. Next heading, software audit. Very important. A software audit is a practice of analyzing and observing a piece of software, which is totally in a simple term. The auditing will be done only to the IT sector, and this IT sector, what they'll be doing, they will be having too much of research area, and they will have some document says that they have done too much of research and they are updating in the software and they are following so on so ERP technology. Everything should be there in the auditing process. What are the process are there? Number one, step one. Step one, they were talks about identity application you wish to audit. Why we have created the auditing? For what purpose? What all the things they have to verify? Use or usage tools to run a report on current usage within the organization. Step 2, analyze the report identifying non-usage or arrange with the deployment or installation team for the removal of unused application. Okay, create a report identity or application machines or data of audit. That all comes under step 2. Step 3, auditing talks about the responses of your audit report or highlights justification of keeping the software or arrange with the deployment or installation team for the removal of application no longer requires. Okay, then add to the audit report identifying the application machines and date of auditing, all should be there in step 3. Step 4. Step 4 is like updating the audit report. How we will be doing? We will be knowing the team leader, business administrator, managers, asking if they are the user, they are happy with the changes or not. You supposed to have a brainstorming session and collecting the information. And finally, step 5. What we will be automatically, all the auditing is over in the sense we will be run a new install report from so and so to so and so tool, establish updated compliancy figures, rectify the errors, and get a new licensed software. That all comes under step 5. Okay, so auditing is very important in the organization. Without auditing, we cannot go for the new project and all. Or if we implementing a new project, obviously auditing is very important. Okay, then ethics in IT. Yes, we are having too much of system. What we supposed to do ethically, we should be follow so on so terms. In a business, some of the thing is very ethical one. The same in IT, you supposed to have a ethically you have to follow. Number 1, information rights and obligation. The major ethical, social and political issues or whatever. Here, the rights and obligations talks about what information is rights to individual and organization process with respect to themselves. What can they protect? What obligations to individuals and organization have concerning this information? That all comes under first point. Okay. Second point, property rights and obligation. This obligation is like how will traditional intellectual property rights be protected in a digital society in which tracing and accounting for ownership in different of ignoring. Got it? So you supposed to be the moral or the following of dimensions actually. You should know the rights and obligation. You supposed to know the property rights of your business. Then accountability and control. Who can and will be the held accountability? Something was happened. Who is going to take the responsibility in the business? That's supposed to be known. And the last one is quality of life. How? The value or should be preserved in information knowledge based on the society. We are going to implement on the software in the sense where that software came from, which country it was implemented, and either if the software is implemented, the automotive will be there, or whatever the new technology which we are going to implement, the new IT which we are going to implement in the organization, is that worth in the organization or it goes towards the barriers to the development of the organization. That all the things you have to think and implement. Okay. User interface and reporting. User interface. I told you about user interface. User interface in the sense the person one who uses the account. Okay, they also will have a problem, right? So who will be getting the issues? Number one, the end user. The final user of a software will have an issue. Second one, end user command. The end user command should be neatly specified what I am going to do in the next step. Will I go with this software or if not? What is the end user command? What I am going to do for the further step? That all very important. Then user friendly interface. User friendly interface, the software should be very easy to understand, and the people supposed to using the software is really happy with the software and they feel very comfortable with the software. Next one, interface management system. We're supposed to have a link with all the department together, not only one department. For example, I have a company, I am into manufacturing, in the sense the same software should be linked with HR. Then only the HR can know about what is that people worked into, how long they were worked, and what all the things they have achieved. For example, 8 hours the people was there only in 4 hours, obviously salary will be reduced. So all should be have a link that is called as interface management system. Then display screen specification. You should know about the specification of a screen or a software. Okay. Then application comments. If you are going to what to say, if you are going to close this document, what is going to be happen in the future, or if you're not updated, what is going to be happen. For example, if your system suddenly is closed or switch off your system, power cut in the sense, automatically your backup will be there. If your computer will not have that kind of a security, backup will not be there, so you have to do again and again. So application command should be there, everything should be updated. Application designed by the user. Application should be designed by the user. Okay, so should not designed by the company or whatever. The user should tell what are the need and what are the things supposed to be there in the system, that has to be given to the company, and that company has to be designed according to the user needs. So these are the components of user interface prototyping. And also like reporting. Okay, and some of the classifications also there. For example, presentation prototyping. Presentation prototyping is like is a part of project proposal. Okay, strongly focused on the user inference. Functioning prototype, it's all about the organization function. Departments will have their own strategically important parts. Then breadboard. Breadboard is like what to say, to build, to investigate, actually investigate a special risk, that is called as breadboard. Then pilot system, that is also like mature prototype calls. Okay, So these all very important parts or points comes under user interface and reporting. So thank you all. I have completed the fourth unit. Thank you one and all.